was my birthday, and we drank a bunch, and everybody's doing shots and stuff, and eventually everybody kind of went out and went their separate ways. But Chris and I convinced him to go to Big City with me, and we went there, and we hit on some college chicks, I think, and we really got drinking, and eventually we just got to talking. And he said he wanted me to walk him back to his place because he didn't think he would make it. And I believed him because he was really sloppy. So I walked him back, not too far, just a few blocks, you know, to his place. It was pretty cold outside, so he said I could come in and warm up a little bit before I went back. So I did that, and we sat on his couch and talked a little bit more. Then it was like, hey man, can I suck your dick? He said, and I was drunk. I was like, I'll go along. And he went down there. It took him a few minutes to get this zipper and the buckle and stuff done. Really a long time, I think. And then he went to work. And like I thought he was just bad at it because he was drunk. Even though I always thought he was gay, I figured he'd be really good at blowjobs, but no, he was really terrible. And I thought, oh, no, he's just drunk. I'll just let him go. Like probably 45 minutes, an hour later, and he was still just pawing at it. Like it was like a child who finds a rattle or a bright light or something, and is confused by it, and he looked a little scared. But like if it would shift, he would jump back and eat. And then I let him go for a little longer, and eventually I just had to crank it out myself on him.
He tried to suck my dick once, and I couldn't stop giggling, so I had to tell him to knock it off. He was pretty upset about it.
He is gay. He once attempted to suck my penis. I'm a woman. I do not have one. Though that day I happened to be wearing a strap-on, no, I did not allow him to suck it.
Chris Berzac tried to suck my dick. I have an awesome dick.
Chris and I know. I mean, besides improv and the warm feelings he brings to my body. I mean, my heart. Nothing more than, you know, father-daughter. He's old.
He used to go down there all the time, and much like his acting, it never improved.
Sometimes Chris Berzac would be a B-52 bomber that was flying right over Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and it just accomplishes its mission. And sometimes he was like a B-52 bomber that all engines were on fire, and the pilot is screaming, and the bombardier is screaming, and the guy in the little hole in the bottom with the gun is screaming, and it's gonna crash and explode, and there's an atomic bomb inside of it, and it's probably gonna land. It probably hasn't even left the continental United States yet, and it's gonna blow up our own, so it's just intense and scary.
Rude is a word that I would go for. Disrespectful. I mean, tacky. Absolutely tacky. Just the things he would say and do are just not appropriate. Oh, fuck, I ripped something. God damn this fucking thing. Obviously, he's not going to succeed by going on and being on a show and saying one word. Flush, he didn't invent that word. That word's been around since the toilet. So it's not funny at all. I, obviously, have moved on. And it just shows who's professional and who is not.
It was clear that he had a lot of experience, but he was, you know, he was definitely like hanging on to like bits for dear life. Look, I've had tragedy in my life, okay, and I don't bring it to the jam, you know. I don't start flipping off the audience. You know, my mom died at a young age, so I don't turn into a shitstorm. You know, start taking off my clothes and then walking around and then complaining when someone hid my clothes and when my friends didn't tell me where my clothes were, and I start bitching about it. Like, you know, I never did that kind of stuff, so I don't know. But then we got into Quincy, and I actually like really got into him, although I have to say I was hanging out, and I've never told this to anyone, but I was hanging out with Brian Jack, who was our first coach, and some other guys, and they were like, "Oh, how's Quincy? How's that new team, Quincy?" And they're asking me like, "Yeah, who's?" Or they're joking like, "Oh, you're the best person." I was like, "No, Chris Berzac is like, I really think he's pretty good." And BJ said, "No, he sucks. Like, he's terrible."
There was one rehearsal we had where we had to imitate a celebrity in a scene. And Chris picked Mick Jagger. It was the worst Mick Jagger impersonation I've ever seen. But that wasn't it. I mean, he just kept doing it. He wouldn't stop doing it.